And welcome back to our Strong Girlies! New setting, new environment.
Yeah.
For our new next fun episode.
Yeah, because now we're getting a little bit more into you.
Yeah, so now you can do your mind nerdiness talking about Strongman and stats and numbers. So good. So we're at my place today. Thought we'd switch it up a little bit. See how the vibes are. It's kind of cozy. You liking it?
I like the couch.
She just likes that. She's sitting taller. Yeah, so today's episode is all about Strongman. So excited. I'm going to be talking a lot, which is great. I'm very excited. But first, I thought we should start with our recap. How were your goals? How was your fitness? How was your gym or health journey this week?
Okay. Well, considering the weather, it's been a little bit rainy and cold and gloomy. Like we're getting into the winter seasons. So I've only been taking 5,000 steps a day, which is still progress.
That's great.
Still progress.
Like every day or every other day?
Every day.
Nice. There you go. So I think that would balance out because weren't you doing 10,000 every other day?
Yes. So it's
You're
around the same,
solid.
just less throughout that day. And I actually started jogging yesterday.
Ooh, nice.
So that was fun. It was an interesting peak. And then with regards to my goals, I had more literature-related goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on writing itself more so than editing. And I haven't been talking to the publishers or marketers yet just because.
Well, that makes sense.
And I did change the way I wanted the protagonist and love interest to be portrayed. So I started working on my book 2.0.
Oh, right. Is it 2.0 or a different book?
It's a different book.
Okay, so
Yeah.
2. It's like, I don't want to give your book name away, but whatever that book name is, 2.0 means that you're revamping the original story. But this is a completely new story.
Not incorrect. I changed the protagonist and the love interest, how they met, and like how their story is going to carry on throughout the book. But instead of just focusing on that, because there are still a few holes that I need to fill, I actually had an epiphany over the week. And I was like, okay, I need to write this down because otherwise I'll forget.
Yeah.
So it's more set in the Renaissance period.
Ooh,
And
fun.
a steampunk element.
Oh, love steampunk.
Yeah,
Love steampunk.
I
Oh, it's
thought
gonna be
you
great.
would. I thought of you when I did it. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, this is going to be great. So I started working on that a little bit more. I'm in the second chapter, and my partner, he and I are collaborating on working on this book because,
nice.
yeah, the main character, she's a cook in the castle.
Okay.
So I'm having Jacob kind of help me make medieval recipes and Renaissance-related recipes. So then eventually, once the book's published, we can maybe get a cookbook on the way.
Oh, how fun. That's so smart.
We'll see.
I just think back to, like, I know I have a Harry Potter cookbook, and
Yeah.
it's based on all the things that, like, a Molly Weasley cooked for the kids, or like butterbeer and all those traditional things.
Love that.
Yeah, so that's a really smart idea to kind of have that already thinking about, and like, and you can be like, oh, this specific dish won over my true love, and then put that one recipe in the recipe book. That's cool.
I kind of thought about it to pay homage to, I never saw the Hogwarts book, but the Dungeons and Dragons novel,
Okay.
they recently came out with another cookbook. So I was like, okay, well, like, I know that this is going to get something good now.
Okay.
That's mainly it. I've also been drinking a lot more water because we were talking about water intake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've been here now. We've had glass. It's great.
I know. I had to refill it in your washroom.
Great.
So we're getting there.
Nice. Awesome start.
Yeah. How about you? How are you doing?
Mine's been okay. So like I was sick this week, so I did not get to the gym. It was just like I took a sick day, which is very rare for me. I just needed time to rest. To go to the gym, I only went to Strongman training last night, which was a lot of fun. It went well. I was a little disappointed in some of the things because I realized how much my strength has gone down. So I was a little bumhurt about that, but it wasn't bad. It just shows like I know I can do it. I know I have done it, but I was just in the moment like
bringing yourself back up to it after
yeah.
the week off.
But it's way more than that. It's because like I haven't been lifting heavy since August. And so, like, before I'd be doing deadlifts, I would be doing overhead presses, barbells. I've been doing a lot of grip stuff, which I haven't, and it shows. Like I could do 150 per hand before easily, no problem. And I was struggling with 125.
Yeah.
I was doing, like, we were doing the, like, farmer's carry run, and I was able to do up there. I was up, but on my way back, I never quite got it. I always finished it because
Yeah.
I'm stubborn like that.
Yeah.
And it was funny. Even one of the coaches, Dave, was like, "Oh, I'll get it." I'm like, "You don't touch those.
Yeah.
I'm finishing this." And they were like,
just catching my breath.
"Yeah, I'm finishing it. You are not touching these."
Absolutely.
It was a really funny thing. And then my roommate Allison came with me.
Yeah.
I was so proud of her. She did really great.
That's good.
Yeah, and she seemed to have a lot of fun. She wants to come again tomorrow with me.
Oh,
we do. So we did farmer's carry, and then farmer's hold, which that's something like I was a little frustrated with myself, but that's just I gotta go easy on myself being not in the gym, not lifting those heavy weights, but that's just something we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we did yoke press, which went really well. Felt very good with that. We did, the thing is 90, 110. So that I was able to get easy 5 for multiple sets. So I felt really good with that.
Yeah.
Then we did the stupid sandbag carries. Oh, I hate the sandbags. I hate sandbags.
We have some history with the sandbags.
We have many sandbag histories. I don't like them. They're just, it's so awkward. They're so heavy. And and then actually when I was doing it, the first run I did, it was just 100 pounds. We're going there, drop it, pick it up again because the picking's the hardest part.
Absolutely.
So we did that. And then I had like this crack in my knee and I got really scared. But like it didn't hurt. And like this is the knee I tore my ACL on. So like I'm always a little nervous with it.
It's just her waking up again.
No,
like, what happened?
Yeah, like what is this? And it scared me. But
Yeah.
but like it didn't hurt. It doesn't hurt today. It didn't hurt at the moment. It's just the sound.
Yeah.
And like everyone heard it too. They're like, "What was that?" I was like, "That was my knee."
The initial panic.
Yeah, but like say I did. So I was taking it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I was just like picking up. I wasn't trying to move fast with it. I was just picking it up, walking it down, dropping it, picking it back up, just taking my time with it. Just to kind of go through the motions of it and not worry about speed just because that sound scared me.
Yeah. But I mean, not only that, like you said, you've been out of the gym for a little bit. So it's nice to start slow and work your way up.
Yep.
And even if it's like the same weight that you were doing before, it's just a little bit slower than the
Exactly.
time. You're not in the competition or
Exactly.
doing an event, so time doesn't
and it
count.
does come right back too once you get into it. Like even
Yeah.
like the first pick was hard, but then you get into the motion of it. I was still able to pick up the 150, which is the last one I did, which I was happy about.
Nice.
So no, it went well. It was really fun. It was really cool. And then my meal prep, I did that went really well.
I was just gonna ask
Water went great. But like say just I'm not really eating that much just because being sick. You don't really.
Let me ask
it.
you, what did you make for meal prep?
Rice, chicken. So I have I got 5 things of rice with mixed vegetables. I had 2 chicken breasts and 4 pieces of fish.
Nice.
Yeah. And then your homemade chicken soup for lunch a couple times.
Good.
Soup
good.
mushrooms. Who puts mushrooms in chicken noodle soup? You're the only person.
I might be the only person, but it's good for you.
No, I don't know. But no.
If you ate those mushrooms, you probably wouldn't be sniffly right now. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Okay. I don't think so, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, those are my goals this week. So I'm happy considering being sick that I was able to. I went to at least once the gym. I'm going tomorrow.
No.
And I did really well with my water. I've been drinking 2 of these a day.
Good.
You can hear the ice. Now we're going to our tarot.
Yeah. Let's check off all of our assigned
I
tasks.
feel like that was a success. I'm taking that as a win in my books.
I think that's a dub.
Yep.
Let's see how you guys did. I want to hear how everyone did on their goals and their stepping stones to reach those goals. So
Exactly. Even if you didn't get all of them, you at least try to do something.
that's right. All we got to do is check one off and we accomplish something. Today.
Exactly. And so today's tarot, we're going to be using the Wild Unknown. I'm going to get the big box so you can see it a little better.
Yeah, I get the little box.
So this is the Wild Unknown Decking Guidebook by Kim Kranz. So this tarot deck, this is my OG. This is my baby. I absolutely love it. It is my go-to. I will use it the most.
Started from the bottom, now we do.
Yes, this is the OG. So this tarot deck, I got it actually in the middle of the pandemic, and the artwork is what really spoke to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, like, it's all black and white
with a
colors.
spark of color. So like as an example, like there's a lion and it's all black and white, and then it'll be gold around as like an accent color.
Yeah.
And so I've always loved that imagery. So once it popped out, I saw it online, I instantly got it, and I love it. It speaks to me. And this one is all about like discovering new things, embracing the unknown. It's more of a self-love tarot. It's not a harsh tarot, I find. It can give you some harsh lessons, no doubt.
Yeah, she can be honest.
She can be honest.
But she's gentle with it.
Yeah, she's a gentle lover.
Yeah. I haven't gotten any cards yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, see what happens. You got to keep shuffling. I saw, and one thing, like everyone shuffles a little differently, but the one thing that was actually bothering me is that you were showing them the cards when you're shuffling.
Yeah.
And like I personally, it drives me crazy when people are shuffling and I can see
Which
the
one
cards.
you're gonna get? You'll never know.
What do you mean? I'm staring at them.
There you go. All right.
Did we get one? We did.
It is the Father of Pentacles.
Oh, wow. And on the bottom, we have the Ten of Pentacles.
Do you mind me asking, what are Pentacles again?
Pentacles are very home, health type of situation. It's talking more on, like, it's your home life, your financial situations. It's not so much your love life, but your family life. So it's like your parents, sibling, the kind of relationships compared to, like, the cups, which is pure, like, romantic love, but also platonic love as well.
Yeah. Cups could also be self-love, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I will let you read, or
I will describe what this card means. So it's actually funny this card popped out. So this card represents a very specific person for me, usually when I'm reading this deck. But we're not going to be doing it that way because we're doing this as talking about. It is a stag. It's a very regal animal. It's got rainbow antlers, and in between the antlers is the pentacle sign, and it is bursting out from the pentacles and lines all through the background. And we'll show the card for those who are watching.
Well, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually, that worked out great.
Perfect. And so then what we will do is we'll be posting this to our Instagram page as well. And so for me, I always love to read the bottom of the deck as well. So the other bottom deck, the card that's at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Pentacles. So full completion. Mm-hmm. And didn't we have Ten of Pentacles last week?
No.
It was Ten of Crystals.
The Ten of Crystals.
That was our first
week. Yeah.
So, but this represents that, the same card.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Full circle.
Full circle. And so this card here, it's beautiful.
And you know what's so funny?
Yeah.
So the very first week that we started the podcast, it was a new moon. And then this week, we just had a new moon.
Is it really?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So we're talking about full circles.
Oh, it's creepy.
It is.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention that because I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I did not know that. And it represents someone. You can represent someone in your life or someone or the energy you need to embody. So I'm taking this is the energy we need to embody. Okay. This is the boss ass bitch energy. Okay. This is like we're going into the room head first, head high. Everyone's looking at us. We are fierce creatures. That's the vibe that this card is giving me. And knowing what it means is talking about like maybe being a little more standoffish, but people respect you and going in with that poise of a father figure of someone with authority and someone to look up to.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's read what the book says. Oh yes, you would need to.
I don't know. This card you're saying it represents somebody. It represents the element of somebody, and like with a father figure. To me, the way I see it is the antlers are what has the color in it. So it's the first thing that your eyes gravitate towards. And in between the antlers is the pentacle itself. So to me, it almost seems like protectiveness. When I see the father and then the pentacle within the colored antlers, I see a protectiveness. So it's like almost guarding yourself and protecting yourself from being hurt, or like making sure that you protect others in a way, yourself in the way that you want to be protected, and making sure that everybody is comfortable in the situation.
Yeah. Definitely. Totally exactly what the Father of Pentacles energy is about.
And they're like the elk or stag.
Stag.
Because that the stag is kind of looking in the direction, is looking stage left.
Okay.
So it's looking right in my eye, but it might be looking left in somebody else's eye, depending on how you're like perceiving the elk. Like in my eyes, it's like I'm looking at this elk, at the stag head on, as if like I was hunting it in the woods, and this is how I'm seeing it. It's almost looking out to protect somebody. It's like I don't want you to come. It's in a defensive mode.
It's surveillance.
Yeah.
Surveillance.
Surveillance.
There we go.
I gotcha.
All right. So what does the book tell us about this one?
The book is saying it is a steady entrepreneurial perspective. The Father of Pentacles is a steady, gentle man. Upon first meeting, he can almost seem dull because of his extremely calm temperament. But underneath is an incredibly passionate man who prioritizes the stability of his job, his family, and his home. He is entrepreneurial and diligent at work, a true pleasure to get to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I wouldn't think gentle.
No, but it's a hidden gentle.
But I understand that because, like, compared to other animals, people will see a deer or a stag as being a very gentle, fragile creature. When in reality, if you've met one in person,
You ain't fucking around.
yeah, you don't stay for long. That's all I'll say. Unless you got a gun in your hand, you're ready to shoot.
Let's go.
Yeah, you better be going.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when, I don't know if anyone else is, well, I'm sure people have watched videos of like elk calls and moose calls, but like they sound like dinosaurs.
They do.
And it's crazy. Like if I heard that in the wild, you best believe
I'll run the other way.
I am testing to see if that's a T-Rex. No
way.
All right. So let's get into the Strongman. I want to know more about it.
Okay, so here's watch me nerd out. Don't let me know if I'm talking too fast because I get very excited.
Okay, and we're gonna leave all of the links to their YouTube channels as well as the stats score that Allie's gonna discuss a little bit later in the description. So please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, but also subscribe to these people because they are phenomenal.
They are, and this is where it all started for me. Like as I mentioned in the beginning, in our first episode. I went to YouTube to find these men or to find workout people and found these strongmen back when the pandemic was happening. But so then I went to a deep dive into what strongman is and what it means. And the root of it is it's circus freaks. And then it's just like that kind of just related to me because I've always felt kind of like a freak of nature. Just
nothing wrong with being a little freaky.
It just fell into place. But they seen it as a show. It was very much like you're coming to entertain us, and it was that classic image of
it's like the man with like the really big barbell.
Yes.
Okay.
The circus style.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I've never connected the two.
Right? Exactly. And like same with the women. It was a feat of strength to see a woman lifting. It was a circus act.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of one of the funny things to think about. Like this was like similar to like freaks, circus, spectacle, an oddity.
It was strange to be strong.
It was strange to be strong. And now it's something that's so celebrated, talked about. So it was actually in 1977 when the first World's Strongest Man aired. So this all started as a TV show. And so one thing you will hear me say is strongman. It's the sport of strongman. Yeah. I do not classify myself as a strong man. I'm a strong woman, but I'm in the sport of strong man. Yeah. So the sport's name itself is strong man because I've heard a few people comment to be like, "Oh, it's not strong man training; it's strong woman training." I'm like, no, the sport itself is called strong man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could also look at it in the derogatory sense, where like mankind, it's embodying the world. Just because it's stated as man doesn't mean that it's like related to the sex of the person.
Exactly. So that's one thing I wanted to mention because I've heard like even my own dad was like, "No, you're a strong woman." I'm like, "Yes, I am strong. Yes, Dad. Thank you. You are right." But the sport's name is strongman.
Because that's how it originated.
Yeah, it was started off. It was a TV show that people got excited for, and then because of the TV show, it became a sport. So that's why it's so new and it's so niche and it's so. There's not a lot of regulations yet. Like it's come a long way, and I'm going to talk more about like the present day strongman and the culture and what's going on now. But it's also important to talk a little bit about where it started.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it was car parking lots. It was, and you didn't have training for strongman. It was you show up to do practical things, like you were carrying a fridge, you were bending bars, you were carrying sandbags to like as you would do for a flood. It was more practical.
Yeah.
And it was just to show how strong you were. And it was trying to do these lifting different things. It didn't look how pretty it was. It didn't matter what the object was. It was just you were lifting it from point A to point B.
Yeah, it was not so much of like a competition, but like a competition for yourself to see how much you can carry.
Yes, and it was a competition to see who was the strongest, but they did it with odd things.
Yeah.
It was practical things. Like say, you have to carry a fridge to your house at some point. Do you need 2 men, 3 men, or can this one man do it himself?
That'd be crazy.
right?
I'd be hiring him to like help me.
Exactly. But also in the beginning, it was not safe because like there was one person who had a fridge on his back, and as he was walking, his leg breaks. Yeah, like, and then like there was a time when they were doing sumo wrestling, and but they were not trained to do sumo wrestling, and people got really hurt. Or like bar bending, rhubarb, like for like construction, they would be bending that, and they bend it over their head or on the back of their necks.
Oh my
Like
God.
it was so dangerous.
Because your bones can handle that much.
Exactly. And so there was there's a lot of injuries now, but there was a lot more freak injuries back then.
More secured injuries.
Yes, some days.
Muscle related, more so than
Yes, a
bones.
little more muscle related than the freak of like just things just bending the wrong way.
Snapping their knees.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yep, that was a thing that
New
happened.
fear unlocked.
Welcome.
Like I've seen, there was one video that I remember online that I witnessed, and it's called crackhead energy, and I hate using that term, but there it is. And it's about this really, really skinny man who found this fridge full of food because somebody was like allowing people who didn't have resources for food to go and grab it. And this man puts this whole fridge on his back. Meanwhile, he's skinnier than me. He's like 80 pounds. So
what? Yep.
And he goes on his bike with this fridge on his side. And it was just like amazing to witness.
Wow.
And it's kind of a similar sensation of when you're seeing all these big burly people being able to lift all of these massive things or like move a truck.
Yep.
Like that's unbelievable.
It is.
In our minds. It's weird.
It's weird. It's the oddity.
Yeah.
But the oddity of people who are odd and straight, they bond together.
It's what keeps you interested.
And it keeps you interested. Something out of the norm. Something
Yeah.
you can't imagine a human being doing.
Yeah.
But here they are, 10 people doing it.
Yeah.
Or more. It's crazy. And so that there was many different competitions. They had very strange events that were planned for the first like maybe 20 years. And then there was a little bit of a split. There was a little bit of divide. So there was Ultimate Strongman took over some of the competitions, and it was a bit divided, I think, for probably about 7 to 8 years.
Do you mind me asking? I don't mean to cut you off, but what is Ultimate Strongman?
It's just a different category.
Okay.
So just like, so say it football. So there's like an American League and National League and a Central League.
Yeah.
So it's basically a different spot.
Okay.
So you might not play everyone in that spot.
Yeah.
So, but normally they would be like, oh, if you do one, you can't do the other. That's what it was back then.
Okay.
You had to choose. Oh, you're going to be in the Ultimate. You can't be in the World's Strongest Man category.
Is it different training or like
Nope.
different weights or
Nope.
just completely separate categories?
It's kind of just a separate category. For at the time, it did. For me, it still does. I don't really understand that. I'd have to do a little bit more research into exactly the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
But it was more like an international thing.
Oh, okay.
But I think is what it was. Or trying to get more people in, or like, oh, you can't. But the thing was, it was so restrictive. That was the problem with it. So, say a man from the United States wanted to do something in the Ultimate Strongman in, say, Dubai, as an example.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be allowed to do something in the States because they wouldn't compete in Dubai.
Okay.
So you had to choose which category you were in. Together it became one unit. And so during this time, that's when actually World's Strongest Woman came in, 1997. 20 years late, but hey, we're there. That's all that matters.
The best year.
Just your birth year. I guess it gave it to you, so it's a good year. Yeah. And so then, so I actually didn't know too much. With the World's Strongest Woman, it still was not as popular, wasn't talked about, and that's just unfortunately the state of female sports.
Well, I was just gonna say there's as hard as it is to admit, only in the recent years has that line kind of thinned out.
Yeah.
In the 90s,
Ooh,
she was still there.
She was still there, and even still, like the part that I'm going to be talking about the most now is actually between 2010 and current day.
Yeah.
Because that was the era that I went really deep dived into.
Yeah.
And to me, it was really exciting because like there was a lot of amazing people like in the early years. And this is right when they came back after that split. I think maybe the biggest rivalry was Brian Shaw, 4 times World's Strongest Man, and Jonas. I don't think I'm saying that right, but it's very close. And Big Z, we'll call him, make life a lot easier. Also 4 times World's Strongest Man. And they went back and forth for like 2010 or 2009, 2010, 2011, there's some controversy for the 2010 one because Brian Shaw and Big Z actually tied. It was the very first time it's ever tied, and they didn't know what to do because it's never happened. Because like there is a point system with the Strongman, so and we'll go into more details about the rules on how to do that when we do my recap. I think that's a more appropriate time to talk about the numbers and the scores and the points when it comes to that's good when it comes to Strongman. But they tied on points, and so there they didn't know what to do, and so now there's a current day where it's the last event. Whoever wins the last event will win it. But then they did a count back. So what they went back and counted how many first place they had, how many second place they had, how many third places they had in each event. And Brian Shaw made a mistake, and it still haunts him to this day with the sandbag.
I can only bet.
It does. And so, but they had the biggest rivalry in the history, and they are the GOATs. They are the OG, and you can go either way. I personally think Brian Shaw's the GOAT.
Well, he's also older, is he not?
No, Big Z's older.
Oh, interesting.
Big Z is older. He's but he had a longer career, and so but he went to that other world of the ultimate. I don't think that's actually the ultimate. As Fortissimus is actually the name of it. Now that I'm thinking of it, Fortissimus is where he went. So he actually has more wins, but there's because Brian Shaw is still modern day and still competing modernly. Yeah, that's why I take him as. Whereas Big Z, he's competed here and there, like he's done the Shaw Classic, done a couple other big shows, but he's not competing.
No,
Brian Shaw this past year won World's or Strongest Man on Earth.
Yeah,
a heavy competition, and so that's why I see him as the GOAT, the OG, the best in the world.
Yeah.
But if someone wanted to say Big Z, no shame. I agree. And so those guys went back and forth, and so they for 8 years it was them. It was either Big Z or Brian.
Wow.
No one else. Wow. And then we had poor Thor. Thor was always there in the mix, and then he was. I think he was on the podium like 8 years in a row. But never got it.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
Right? And so it wasn't until Eddie Hall came in 2017.
Yeah.
That's when he won his title. And he broke the streak. And
Brian
came in third that year with a torn hamstring.
So, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but after that, Brian kind of stayed in that placement after Eddie came in.
He actually took a little bit of a dip.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely, after... Like his last win was 2016.
Yeah.
And then he took a little bit of a dip. And so but he was still competing.
He injured himself. So
he had some big injuries. But during that time he was still winning Arnold's and other big shows that were happening.
Oh yeah.
But yes, he wasn't, and he was still like very much
fantastic
in it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of talk being like, is he done?
Yeah.
Is he done?
Yeah.
So during that time that's when all the new winners came. So it started with Eddie. So Eddie won in 2017, and there was some controversy there between him and Thor. So there, and that's where the rivalry started.
So that's when Big Z and Brian Shaw kind of took a break, and Eddie and Thor took over.
They did, but it's as much as they took over, no one's had the back and forth like they did.
No,
and I don't think you could now. Not now. Like there's so many amazing, and the level that people are at. With the strength and how diverse everyone is, and how good people are. Yeah. I don't think you can ever have something like that again.
There's a lot of rules too now that it's modernized and it's a little bit more well known in the community.
It is, and there's more people, there's more publicity, and it's because of those guys. Like really, I
had to make rules. So find someone bigger.
Exactly. You don't find many people bigger than Brian Shaw, 6'8".
Oh my God.
But then comes Tom Stoltman, who is
a beast,
like 2 inches, no, 1 inch taller than him.
Yeah,
and then but a wingspan. Woo! Get me all excited. You say I get nerded out, but I'm bringing it back in. And
2017.
So 2017, Eddie won it, and then there was some controversy because it was once again 1 point, and Thor made a mistake. He double dipped on the Viking press. I fully believe it. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, we didn't do it," but there's video evidence of him doing it. Yeah. And so he won it the next year. And so ever since 2017, there's been someone new. We had Eddie. 2016 was Brian.
Yeah.
2017 was Eddie.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm getting so confused is in 2016 is when Eddie did the deadlift. the 500 kilogram
Oh,
deadlift.
Yeah,
That's where I'm getting.
that's where people started recognizing him.
Oh,
Being like, okay,
yes,
he's something to work with.
exactly. And so with Eddie, he only wanted to win one. He was like, I'm one and done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this, and I'm gonna market myself.
Yeah.
And he did. He has a brand. He is huge. He is the most well-known and modern. Maybe Thor, because Thor also was on Game of Thrones. The Mountain, if you didn't know, that was Thor. So
Okay.
he's like, between those two, they really put Strongman on the map.
Yeah.
And they were the ones talking about it because they became so famous. They talked about it. They brought new faces. They brought new names. They started social media and started promoting themselves. And once you promote yourself, you get recognized by brands.
Yeah.
And so Rogue, as an example, Rogue was a CrossFit brand, but now it's very much a Strongman's brand as well.
Yeah, because I actually knew Rogue to be CrossFit.
Yeah.
My aunt did CrossFit.
Yeah, and I had no idea.
Yeah, and then I mentioned this when I first met you, and I was talking about Strongman with her.
Yep.
I mentioned Rogue, and she was like, Rogue equipment? And I was like, yeah, and that's for Strongman. She's like, no, it's for CrossFit. And her and I got into like a bit of a debate over it.
Yeah, and it did. And so because of the publicity, it's a hard word to say, that Eddie, Thor, Brian all brought to the table, it's becoming more well known.
Yeah.
And so with that, there's more people, there's more accessibility to it. There's more people talking about the sport, bringing in new faces, new gyms opening up, more opportunities. And so that's where it's kind of been so far. And so really from 2020 to now, it's huge. It's blown up. And I know for me, it blew up for me because that's when I started watching it.
Yeah.
So I feel really excited and kind of honored to be watching this new era.
Yeah.
I am slightly sad that I kind of wasn't there for like Brian's start, but I was there for his ending.
You've been supporting him through it all.
I was there. I was crying when he won that title, and it's the speech on top of the power stairs. I was bawling my eyes out while Hooper was holding up his hand.
Oh.
All these names, I'm sure, the Moose are Canadian.
He's my favorite. Not to like have a favorite, but you know.
You have a favorite. Yeah. It was Novikov.
It was Novikov.
Novikov was our 2020 winner.
Yeah.
Which was a really interesting era. That was the first one that I ever watched. And I was very exciting. And it's as funny as it is, watching Strongman and World's Strongest Man, you're not actually watching it.
No.
When it's happening live, you're not watching it.
No.
You are watching a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I'm on my phone, and I am watching Instagram reels. I am watching behind the scenes from the guys, because they all have YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And then now they're promoting it more, and they were doing watch parties. So good old Uncle Laws, Auntie Liz, I have them live, and I'm getting their reactions to the spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And I never knew how exciting it was. I was dying.
Who knew statistics could be fun?
Who knew all these numbers? And now it's funny. It's a little bit more publicized. You can actually go and watch it now live.
Yeah.
So this past year they actually sold tickets to it. I've heard it wasn't the best. Like there were still some kinks, but for the most part, it's going in the right direction. So they're bringing a lot more names and information to the actual to the sport by talking about it, going on, doing videos, say Mitchell Hooper is very similar to Eddie Hall in that aspect.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall did major things, and same with Brian Shaw, but I would definitely say Eddie promoted before, and he straight up told everyone in the world who said, I'm winning it once and I'm promoting myself.
Yeah.
Just like you had mentioned earlier in our conversation about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He wanted to be like, that was his idol. And most of the strongman's idols was him.
Yeah, because I was going to say, there was a time where, even like discussing this with my family, when I was introduced to you and I was introducing them to the topic of strongman, my dad would mention Arnold. And I was like, well, there is a program with his name on it.
Yeah.
That is related to strongman, but I'm pretty sure he's a bodybuilder. And that's two very different sports.
Things. But the thing with Arnold is that he recognized the strength and the power and appreciated it.
Yeah.
Appreciated the effort that Strongman put into it.
Yeah.
So he has a show, a bodybuilding show, and an expo, and I think, and now has the Strongman component, which started. I'm not exactly sure when that started. I want to say in the 2000 or early 2000s range
Yeah.
when he started seeing how big the sport was getting. And so he gave a lot of publicity to it and brought a lot of names and faces to it.
Yeah.
So he definitely was a help to it, but he didn't perform the sport itself.
No, he was just a supporter.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he understood the amount of energy that has to be put into weightlifting.
Exactly.
So.
And so one of the other men that I really wanted to talk about who won 2 times in a row was Tom Stoltman. Oh,
the Stoltman brothers?
The Stoltman brothers. Woo!
You can't talk about Tom.
You can't talk about Tom without Luke.
That's right.
So there is a big age difference between those two. There's a 10-year difference.
Yeah.
And so, but Tom is just one of those people who has a beast. He is. He's got these long arms, long levers. He's impressive. And he was been the only one to do a back-to-back since Brian Shaw in 2000. I think it was 2015, 2016 that Brian Shaw won.
Yeah.
And so since then, and there's only been a handful that's done back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely in a league of his own with that. And so Tom, he's so impressive. And when he puts his mind to it, he just goes.
Yeah.
And one thing and he's very open and honest about it, is that he has autism. And I love that. I think that just showing anyone, maybe you have something that you would classify as a disability, you can make it into a positive thing. Mm-hmm. And you can be world's strongest man 2 years in a row against these people who, like, even the experts say, like, you should be able to win 2 years in a row because there's so much talent.
I was going to say, he won last year, didn't he?
He won in 2001, 2002. 22.
When I first watched it, I watched it in 2021 because that was when I first moved to the island. I got introduced to you.
Yep.
And that was when I started working at your company. And I remember watching it, and that was why I was like, I was supporting Novikov because, like, just look at a photo of him and tell me yes. Support. I mean, anyways. We're not gonna
gushing over. We're not gonna just talk about their looks. It's their performance. Not that they're good looking.
I can't wait to tell that story of us going to our first cup together. 21 came in, and that was the first time that I was truly introduced to Strongman. I actually have Eddie Hall on my YouTube channel, and I watch him like very, very frequently. Especially his wife. Like, I think she's so funny, especially when she's pregnant. When 2021's Stoltman brothers took it, and then he looked at the camera and he was like, "I'll see you again next year." And I was like, the fucking confidence on this guy, like, good for you.
Yeah, and all the scene when
between him and Luke.
Yeah, that's great. I cry every time. Yeah, and like they cry every time. He's got that tattooed on his arm. That image. Yeah. They're the sweetest brothers. They are the sweetest people. Mm-hmm. And, like, that is the thing with Strongman. It is so supportive, so sweet. These guys, like, they're cheering and supporting you all the way. And they're supporting each other. It's such a brotherhood.
Yeah. And even if, like, now, hypothetically, let's say you missed a lift. Or, like you said, in your first competition, you didn't hear the signal that you finished the lift, so you thought you never made it. And then there's people who are behind you, supporting you, being like, you really killed it. Like, next time, if you want to go a little bit further, like, change your position or, like, make sure that you're breathing. Like, they give you pointers, which is something that I found really interesting.
It is.
Because they're not doing it to be petty. They're doing it to, like, make sure that you're playing it safe.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so one last person we cannot forget, we have to talk about the one, the only Mitchell Huber! The first Canadian. And like
he's what, 23 years old?
Oh no, he's 27.
When he first started Strongman training, he was like 23.
No, he started last year.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
I knew he started like late in the game.
No, he started. So his first World's Strongest first performance was at World's Strongest Man 2022.
Wow.
And 2023 he won the fucking thing. Like, what the actual fuck? And like there's been so many stats. Like right now he's on a 12 streak.
Wow.
He hasn't been off the podium.
Yeah.
And like he is and that's right now.
Because that's who we were watching in October.
Oh,
we like, we have to see.
We need to watch. Yes.
Yeah.
We have to watch Mitchell Hooper. So no, he has been absolutely impressive, and if he wants to, he's going to dominate this. Like he will be up there if that's what he wants. Like he's one of those people. Like he does change.
He's kind of like Eddie a little bit.
He has the social aspect of Eddie,
Yeah.
but like Eddie's more of a showboater than he is.
Yeah.
But with Mitchell Cooper, he's a jack of all trades. He's run marathons. He's just one of those people. He wants to get really, really good at something, master it, and move on.
Yeah.
And so right now he's talking a lot. Because that was the thing is like, well, you've done it. This year he's won the Rogue. He's won the Arnold. He's won. Like I have to look back on the exact World's Strongest Man. Like he's run all the big shows that the top guys have won in the same year.
Yeah.
There's this very short list of 3 guys besides now 4 with Mitchell Cooper who've won the Arnolds, the World's Strongest Man,
And the Rogue.
In the same year. Not Rogue. There's something else because Rogue's new. There's a third one. Oh, a Giant Live.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Giants Live, which is a British company, does a fantastic job promoting, and their shows look epic.
It looks like a wrestling ring.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. They're in the mics. They're talking and showboating, and
There's so much hype.
It is. I would absolutely love to go see a Giants Live. It's on the list. It's on the bucket list to go to England to go see one of those big shows.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
You better take me with you.
Oh yeah, we'll go. We'll plan something.
Okay. Sounds like a date.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's so much, and like he is impressive, and he's on a winning streak, and right now he seemingly wants to keep going with it. He's really enjoying it, and so I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
Like if he
He
really
can go
wants.
far.
Oh yes, he can. And like Laws, like as one of the pinnacles, and one person I watch a lot is Lauren Chatelet, who was in the mix with Brian Shaw, Thor, and Eddie.
Yeah.
And like he's beaten everyone but Brian Shaw. He's
Yeah.
beaten Eddie. He's beaten Thor.
Yeah.
That's not Brian Shaw, which what can you do? There's no shame to not beating Brian Shaw.
You take it or leave it.
Yeah. And so and so he was in the mix. So I watch a lot of his stuff, and he does a fantastic job. And we'll definitely link him as well below because he does a lot of
he's good at explaining in the moment.
Yeah, explaining and like him and Auntie Liz. We love Auntie Liz. She's very feisty.
She's so tiny, but she has so much power in her voice. Like it's crazy.
She does, yeah. And so they do a lot of YouTube videos talking about. They do great coverage, and they do great coverage of the men and women, which is fantastic. And so I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about the women now, just because there is such a hype now. Like I've seen it I've been watching it 3 years, and in the 3-year span, the growth is huge.
Because they only just started 3 years ago, right?
Depending on some of the events only started this year.
Okay.
So like as an example, this past year was the first year that the women were professional strong women were in the Arnold.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
So then there's another competition league called the Ultimate Strongman.
Yeah.
So that was the first one in 2020.
Okay.
And that was the first time it was the same events. And the money prizes was the same. Because that's another thing. Like
we love equality.
We love equality. We want to make sure that we're having all of the same rights, getting the same promotions.
Yeah.
And so the promotions are now just starting to come up where the women and the men are equal.
You got me asking,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, but I am curious because World's Strongest Man and then there's Strong Woman now. Is that its own separate category for the Arnolds, or is that its like own?
It's part of it.
Okay.
So it's like, because the Arnolds, there's multiple shows.
Yes.
So there's bodybuilding show, and there's because in the bodybuilding show, there's a bunch of categories too. And so it's like, it's a show put on the same
That's what I was
time.
curious.
But like the pro is open.
Okay.
But there is other categories too. So you can be like the Arnolds had a lightweight. There are middleweight,
Yeah.
heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then same with the Strongman official games, which is actually happening very soon. I'm so excited. And that's where they have the different categories, and that's where you can get your pro card, and you can really amp it up. And that's the big show for the females as well.
Okay.
And that's very similar to a CrossFit game and similar to the row, where it's like multiple people going at the same time. A lot of people get to go to really find that true winner type of situation to get to the finals.
It's nice too because it like kind of cuts time down.
Yes.
Rather than having singular people.
Exactly. Exactly. And so then we had, but yes, with the strong woman categories, they're now really amping it up, and they are now showing how awesome it is to do these things. Like right now, the world record that just got broken, world record in deadlift is 700 pounds.
Wow.
A woman. Most men can't lift 700 pounds,
No.
let alone a woman. Like, how amazing is that? And like, in comparison, That's only like 400 pounds off from the men.
Yeah.
Which is, compared to what it was, that's not a big gap.
No.
That's a manageable gap. That is showing how much strength women has come up.
Yeah.
And like right now, currently as we're talking, there's a world's strongest nation going on in England. And so the women are competing alongside the men in a team competition, and they are promoting them, and they are doing the same events, and it's so exciting to see that women are getting their chance to really shine and to talk about things that they didn't get to talk about, and to really show what they got, and and they're being seen.
Because I was just gonna say, the only woman that I saw in World's Strongest Man like events and training was Sam. She's the one for PEI specifically, or New Brunswick. Sorry.
No, well, she's 3 times strongest woman in Canada.
Yeah.
And so she was in Thunder Bay, Ontario, but she's from New Brunswick. So she just moved back to New Brunswick. And I'm not gonna be a little biased, but the Maritimes are coming up.
I know.
So I'm just like very excited.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say, she's the only one who really like not promoted it, but she was the one that like really stuck out for me.
Yeah.
When it came to strongman training and a woman in strongman training.
Yes. And that is why we'll talk a lot about her next, because Maxine and Simon are the ones running the Strongman Corporation, which we're going to talk about in the next section.
Yeah.
So we're going to have lots of information about them.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. Do you have any other questions about like pros, or do you feel like you got a good grasp on what it's like, where Strongman started, what the pros are like, and what the pro women are like? Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like you explained it really well. Pros kind of confused me a little bit, but after discussing it with you for some time, like I feel like I understand the grasp.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that strong women have their own category now, because I just thought it was something like open class. And I want to call it amateur, but I feel like that's wrong. There's like the amateur weight class.
Oh yeah, there's
that women are competing against men, or like competing with men, I guess is a better term. It just blows me away that they're actually like including everyone now.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and like even like the fandom, and we'll talk a little bit more in the next section about like the growth of the sport. Mm-hmm. Most of the growth is in women. Yeah, and like that's just from my experience. And
plus we exceed,
and we're just like, and we're finally given the chance to be like, fuck yeah, strength is awesome. Yeah, and it's cool now to be strong.
Yeah, it's always interesting to like in the beginning. I think it's so funny that in the beginning it was like to be strong and powerful and be able to lift up over your body weight. It was weird. Yeah, it was a freak show. Yeah, and then to be able to turn that into its own version of a sport, to create that competitive community, but keep it positive. Yeah. And then to be able to include everybody in that and not disregard you based off of like, it's biologically known that men are stronger because they have testosterone and
yeah, there's a biological factor to it.
Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is like, despite that advantage genetically, women can still compete with that.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, we are able to adapt to our surroundings, men, women, and everyone in between. So it's just so interesting to see that it's all coming together so inclusively, and what was first regarded as just a spectacle, as you said.
Freak show.
Yeah. To see it bloom from something so, I can't think of the word right now, but words cannot define how fantastic it is. To see something that has a minority, there you go, that's the word I'm looking for, to find a minority group and just to categorize them as freak shows, like you said, and to just transform it to just being open. Yeah.
Woo! Water break!
Alrighty, let's go.
Cheers!
Cheers! We'll go into a water break and then we'll go into Act 2.
Act 2, we're going to talk about the amateur, kind of stuff that we're doing, I'm doing. What it's like being in the amateur circuit.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Awesome. Might be a blooper or something on our Instagram. Keep an eye out. I don't know.
That's right. Stay tuned to our Instagram at SG Shuffle Podcast, where you can see a little bit of the background information in our podcast.
Yeah.
Get to see things that you don't really get to see or hear in other parts.
Yeah, and maybe some tidbits from our first go at this.
Yeah, you get to see our little baby selves.
Yes, we're so nervous. It was fun.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
You ready to learn about the amateur?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back, by the way.
Welcome to my beautiful couch.
Let's talk about starting amateur.
Yeah, so here in Canada, there's a really great corporation. It's called the Strongman Corporation. It was actually founded by Maxime Boudreault, Sam Bellevue, and Simon, forgetting his last name.
But we were talking about them earlier.
Yeah, and so Max and Sam are very much professionals in this career, and Simon was more like the mind behind it all. But now he's currently like working towards it, done a couple goals.
Oh, good.
Yes, go give him all of those guys a follow on Instagram, because I know Simon is doing a weight loss journey right now, and it's really inspiring. So great job, Simon. So yeah, it's really nice to see that, and like they talk very supportively about each other. So with the amateur level, and that's something that's the category I'm in. I'm an amateur, and I'm in the beginnings of amateur. I'm in the novice category. So that's what their real message is about: inclusivity and giving the opportunity to try this sport and to find the passion, see if you like it, see if you enjoy it. So there's different weight categories. So in the original, back when it first started, they didn't have the weight categories. So it was like people who were, say, 350 pounds, the men, and then say 200-pound man, they can't physiologically lift the same amount of weight.
Yeah. And
so it was an unfair advantage for the heavier men. So that's when they came up with the categories. So now there's multiple different categories depending on your location, and they all kind of range depending on what the availability of it.
Do you know roughly when they started bringing in the categories? Was this before or after Brian Shaw and...
This is a recent thing. So I would say probably like 2000, 2010, but I'm not 100%. I can look that up, and we'll do a little fact check for you. Maybe on an Instagram reel.
Yeah, I was just curious because like we were talking earlier about now they have like all of these regulations to avoid the situation that happened between Brian Shaw and Big Z. So I was curious if that was something that was set up before or after this time.
Definitely probably after. I feel like this is a more modern thing with the weight classes.
Okay.
I know like Sam and Maxine and Simon, they just started the Canada Corp. I want to say like maybe 2 to 5 years ago, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And so with that, there's different weight categories, which makes it more accessible. So like for me, like watching these big guys, there's no way I can lift what they're lifting.
Yeah.
And so I was really nervous to be like, I don't think I can do this, but I want to try. It looks so fun, but I can't lift those weights. And we'll get into a little bit more when we talk about my first go around. The first competition I was going to do, it was going to be in the open category.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a novice category at the time. The novice is very new. I want to say last 2 years, 3 years tops.
Yeah, because I remember you and I were discussing that before, and you were a little bit nervous because of the weights that they were starting in open. Was the equivalent to, oh God, it was equivalent to like one of the higher weights.
Yeah, so the open category, because there wasn't a novice, and with being a bigger person, I only have the option to go in the open category or the novice.
Yeah.
So that's a little frustrating for me, but that's life.
Yeah.
So with the open category, it was, I don't remember the exact things, but like I know there was a 160-pound yoke press, and like I just did 110.
Yeah.
Like there's a big difference that 50 pounds.
It's a jump.
And that was now after a year training it.
Yeah.
This was me going in. And like Blair did not want me to do it. He was very much like, no, don't do it. Just get stronger. But it was one of those things, it was a goal. So I thought I needed to do it.
Yeah.
And then the following year there's novice categories. There we go. That's what I need.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of more options now. They have the weight categories. They have the novice group where you can be in the novice for more than 1 year. Give your chance to figure it out. And like, as an example for me, like the only option for me is to go into the heaviest category.
Yeah.
And that's not realistic after 1 year of training.
Absolutely.
As much as I want to, like we joked and I talked about maybe going in the open category, I don't think it's realistic.
Not yet.
I'm not going to knock it down. If I get strong enough to do it, great.
Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't seem realistic now.
Yeah, don't push it to...
Yeah, I'm not going to rush into it.
Yeah.
As long as I can still do the novice. And right now, I was told that I could do the novice in February. We'll go from there. Take it one competition at a time.
Absolutely.
And like, who knows? Maybe by next year I'll be strong enough to go into the open category. but I don't know that. And so it's nice to have the option, and that's what's really nice about the Strongman Corporation Canada is that they're giving the option to do novice. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
And I've had many conversations with my coaches about how it's discouraging to say, oh, you can only do 1 year of novice and then you have to go into the open category. In my case, there's no weight class besides open that I can go into.
Yeah.
And so for me to go and I can't do 3, 4, and 5 events, that's not fun. I'm probably going to get hurt. And I'm going to get discouraged and not want to come back.
Yeah.
But if I'm given the opportunity to do novice, like if I'm running away in novice, that's a different story. I'm not running away in novice. I am very much in the thing, but I am not I'm doing well.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of how I'm doing. But I'm not running away with the shows. Yeah. There's things I need to work on, and I'm not as strong to be in the open category yet.
Absolutely.
And so that's what the one thing we talked about was because I was wondering when I started back up my strongman training if that's what I had to work towards, and that's what I had mentioned in our first episode before when I hadn't done the strongman training was if that was what I had to do.
Yeah.
But after talking with them, they were like, no, if you want to do novice again, we'll allow you here on the island in the local show.
Nice.
And then that things might change at different shows.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair because it is up to the promoter, and they like some have novice class, some don't. As an example, like I really wanted to do New Brunswick Strongest because I'm from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
But they didn't have an office class.
No, and I was going to mention that too because you were afraid when you're talking about going into
when I go into the open or switch,
you can't
go back. I can't go back. Yeah. So as much as I want to do that because there's a local show that I grew up watching, and I remember going to see every year in our international festival, and I would love to do that at some point. But right now, there's no novice component to it, so I don't want to put myself in a higher category where I know I'm going to fail. That's setting myself up for failure. Yeah. Or I could be a little more realistic and stick in the novice. Yeah. And that was one thing that was a hard lesson for me to learn.
Get a bit more training in under your belt before we're jumping in.
Exactly. And we'll go more in detail when we talk about our strongman experience because I got Megan coming to class.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see. I also got my roommate to go to a class this weekend, so maybe we'll see. We'll get her on here. Talk about her experience. She wants to go again, but
I'm excited.
But she did just message me saying she's hurting, so we'll see.
I kind of want to go back, but I mainly want to go back to I want to try the log again. Yeah. And now you're saying that the log's a little bit wider. I want to give that a shot. Yeah. So I might join you tomorrow, depending on what the weather's saying.
Yeah. Sure.
I got paid today, so
woo! Payday.
We got some money to go towards.
Yeah, buddy. And so with the Strongman Corporation here in Canada, there's different categories. There's different weight class. There's novice class. There's also the disabled class. So I'm not exactly sure what is offered here in Canada. I know there's a few things, but there's the Giants Live. There is nationals, world champions for standing and seated disabled. So for people who are in wheelchairs versus people who are amputees. And I just love the fact that anyone can do this sport.
Me too.
And that's what I love most about it. And
the community's so big and
it is
open and willing.
It is. And we're willing to learn and adapt. So one of the things that's really new and talking a lot in the powerlifting community is transgender male to female athletes being allowed to compete in the female category. We're not going to be giving our opinion on that. That's not for us to speak on. We are not transgender people.
We're not educated enough.
We're not educated enough on. I don't know enough about powerlifting and the rules, so it's not right for us to discuss it. But one thing I really appreciated with there's
growing research on it, which is nice.
Yes, and that is important. You need to be educated, just grow and learn and adapt to what's happening. Yeah. And that is what Strongman Corporate's doing now. Yeah. So I know I was really nervous when that was coming out about powerlifting. I'm like, what's this going to mean for strongman and strong women and the sport for the females? But I think the Strongman Corp is doing a great thing where they are creating their own category. Yeah. So there's going to be a men's open, a women's open, and an open. Yeah. So if you are a transgender person, or I do believe non-binary, don't quote me on this. This is not my expertise. And
it is recent,
within a month. Yeah. Yeah, this is very new stuff. And they sound like they're very willing and open and want to learn to make it as fair as possible. Yeah. They want people to compete. They want to give opportunities to people, but they don't want to take away from the women who are competing. No. Because like we had mentioned earlier, there is a biological difference that we cannot change.
Absolutely.
And so we don't want to negate that, and we understand that that is part of it.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate that they are recognizing those trans athletes,
Yeah.
giving them a space to compete where they want to.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is a great thing. But they're not taking away from anybody else.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like how they're starting to open up more categories and what that means.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really nice, giving them their own spotlight in itself with the sport, because it's forever growing.
It is.
It's just gonna
changing.
keep getting bigger.
And that's just it. If they want people to enjoy the sport, bring more new faces in, they have to make it accessible for everyone else.
Yeah.
And giving from the quick Google search I did, there isn't a disabled strongman league here in Canada. But if there's people who want that, or if there's talk of it, I believe that they would, if they had conversations with other people.
I think that'd be so nice.
But I think they would do it. I think they're open to it. They like Sam and Maxime. I've talked to them both, and even Simon too. I've talked a little bit about to him. They're all open people, and they're open minded, and they want to grow the sport, and they want to bring people in. So I think there would be an opportunity for that in the future.
I think so too. I think, and again, I might be saying this wrong. Instead of there's a lot of gaps that they're willing to fill.
Yeah.
So if somebody commented on it being like, oh, well, I don't feel included in this. Well, how can we make you feel included? What can we do to help you and your community come in? Mm-hmm. Because they don't want it to be a minority anymore.
Exactly. That is the vibe I'm getting. That is, the proof is in the pudding. There was concerns with this new act that happened with the powerlifting. There was a lot of people who were upset. And rightly so. And so they recognize it, and they were proactive in creating this new category. And in my opinion, it works. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I would love to.
Yeah, they're also very respectful.
Yeah, they're very respectful, and I remember when it got posted about it, and they were very much like, we're open to discuss this. If this is not inclusive, let us know. We want to know. We want to be educated and learn and do the right thing. So I really appreciate their willingness to hear people out and learn.
Yeah, I agree. Because not a lot of people are willing to do that. Some people are stuck in their old ways.
Exactly.
There's a saying of, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
You absolutely can.
Absolutely.
Absolutely can.
If the dog's willing.
Exactly. Oh, and one other category we forgot to talk about is masters.
Oh, yes.
So I think that's an awesome thing too. Because a 20-year-old man and a 50-year-old man are very different, but they have a lot of skills, and they have jokingly talk about old man grip.
Yeah.
Say they're fantastic grip. Because they've used their hands, they've worked, and they built.
It's calloused.
Yeah, buddy.
So, what is the difference between amateurs and masters specifically?
So, it would be all encompassing. So you can do pro masters as well.
Okay.
So it's basically novice, amateur, pro, and then there's a masters, amateur, and within the masters is similar to a gender category. Okay. There's novice masters, lightweights, all the way up to heavyweights.
Okay.
Females, it's over 40. I think both are over 40. I have to double check that. It's once you're over 40, you can go in the masters category.
Oh, okay.
And so it's an age thing.
Yes.
But still very challenging.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
When we went to our first competition together, just to watch, just to view how it is in Maritimes specifically, watching the masters. That was impressive.
Yeah. I really think that there's so much growth and so much opportunity within this sport, and it's so exciting. And I feel like I've seen a lot of sports, and I've followed a lot of sports too. I love baseball, curling, sport. It's something that I thought was very intimidating because they're lifting such big weights.
Yeah.
But it's really not. It's very accepting.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
It's so willing to grow.
So willing to grow, willing to have anyone. Like I said, they are the ones giving the shirt off their back, coming in, letting you teach, wanting to learn, wanting to educate other people. So I feel like it's such a fun sport to be in. It's so it's a very unique opportunity.
Even if you're not doing the sport yourself, as an advocate for somebody who doesn't do strongman training on a regular like you, I still really enjoy supporting that sport and being able to watch people just as entertainment. I hate to say it like that.
Oh, it is.
That's exactly what it is. To be able to marvel somebody and witness them accomplish something that you could never imagine somebody doing, let alone yourself, and then having people like yourself being like, okay, well, I'm watching this person, this 300-pound man lift like 800 pounds over his head. This is nothing to him. And then to be able to do it yourself, like that's amazing. So not to say that you actually did, but like I believe it. It could happen.
Yeah, I totally did that.
I mean, you pulled a truck.
I did pull a truck. Yeah. But it's different.
It's different, but it's not far off.
Yeah.
It's not over your head, but you know.
I still did. Yeah.
It feels that way, I'm sure, when you're pulling it.
I felt like, I say, and when my personal feelings when it comes to doing these strength training and these exercises and these events, you feel like a badass. Like you just like, whoa, I could take on the world, and that's what I love about it. Is the confidence it is giving me.
That high.
It is that high.
Yeah, and then to have everybody behind you being like, yes, keep pushing, you can go for it. Like you think that you're done? No, keep pushing further. Yeah, I really love that. Like
the drive.
When you are there encompassing all of that energy, you start to embody it yourself. Because like I'm not a quiet person. I'm not a loud person when I meet someone for the first time. But to be able to be in that energetic situation, in that environment, you build it.
Yeah.
You build it up and you start becoming one of them.
Yeah.
It's a family community in a way. Like it's so well knit.
It is. I definitely love it. Oh, well, I think we should stop there with that because I can talk for hours.
All right. It's getting past our bedtime.
Right. So we just want to remind you of the cards that we had. So we have the Father of Pentacles here, which is the stag with the rainbow antlers and the pentacle symbol in the middle. So one of the things that I really like to read is the bottom of the deck. So this is a preference one. Not everyone reads the bottom of the deck. I see it as one of two things. It could be a message that you are meant to hear or something tied into the reading altogether. So once again, it is the Ten of Pentacles. So it is a diamond shape of pentacles. It's like 3, 3, 3, and a pentacle in the middle. And it's circular rainbows all around. So it's very small circles going outwards into the rainbow colors, starting with red, yellow, orange, blue, and purple. So yes! I was like, what a... So Megan is going to read us what the Ten of Pentacles means, because we didn't read what that means last time.
No, we haven't, because I thought it would be really fun.
Yeah.
The 10 of any card typically is the end cycle of that suit.
Yes. Yep.
I'll say it like that.
That is what's called.
So with the Father of Pentacles, before we go into the Ten of Pentacles, because that's tying everything together, I was curious, has the Father of Pentacles changed for you? Because this card you have as a very specific person in your life. It has been that card since you got this deck. I do, if memory serves me right.
It's always been related to Strongman.
Okay, yeah.
And working out in that aspect. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
so she hasn't changed for you.
No, she hasn't changed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now knowing the Father of Pentacles being this very delicate, gentle creature, being misunderstood, and actually being the compassionate, kind, caring, strong person.
Yep.
I look at that card now a little bit more, like I said, it was a protectiveness. Now I look at it more as like not much of like a guardian. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to describe it. It's somebody who's being on guard, watching out for you, making sure that you're being taken care of, but also taking care of the self. So being kind, being generous, being ambitious, but with that light of precaution.
Exactly. No, I think it's very fitting, and I knew it would be just because of this card has been so prominent. Yeah. Anytime that I am talking about strength training, anytime I'm talking about weight loss, strongman, like it always pops out. And this card to me is it's very warm. It's very comforting. It just reminds me I'm on the right track every time.
Yeah.
And yes, it does represent a specific person in my life and who is like the root of a lot of my strength training. Well, exactly. And I think that's as part of it, but it's a very comforting card to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because when you think of this person, you think of the experience that you had to build up to the moment that you're at now.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, so with the Ten of Pentacles, I'm still learning the Pentacles specifically because they're a little bit trickier.
Yes.
I think it's because like I had a little bit of a harder history with my family that I have difficulty connecting to the Pentacles.
Yeah.
But with this, the Ten of Pentacles, I'm like Ali was saying, there's smaller circles that are building up into larger circles. I feel like it's energy. It's just energy.
Yeah.
So putting all of your heart and your power and all of the support behind you, like the Strongman
It's your
sport
family.
itself. Yeah, it's just everybody collectively working together to make sure that this community stays together.
Yeah.
And that's like the diamond shape specifically. Everything is built together, almost like atoms. It's just all this energy and particles put together, pulling and pushing apart, but working together to get through to the other side.
100%.
So with that card in mind, it is fulfillment, abundance. The Ten of Pentacles signifies material and spiritual abundance in nearly every area of your life. The number 10 usually indicates completion, as we've talked many, many times. But it's also the case of the journey being well worth it.
Yeah.
So be generous, not only with your money, but also with your wisdom. Provide guidance to those who struggle, and you will be rewarded tenfold. And
right.
That is literally the definition of Strongman.
It is. It really is. I think it's a perfect card for today. Perfect is right. Oh, well, that was such a fun podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for letting me nerd out.
I know so much more about Strongman now, and I hope you guys do too.
I hope you enjoyed this one. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you wanted us to talk more about Strongman, if you'd like us to go more in detail about the women's aspects or the history of the men or the sport, I know once the season gets started, we'll be doing a little more recaps and because I will be doing a competition in February. I know that for sure. We'll see where the rest of the season takes me.
Can't wait.
So we'll be doing one in February, and I know we'll be doing like a recap, talking about that. And then when it comes to Strongman, the World's Strongest Man, we'll be doing videos on that because that's my life. The fangirl is there. Like, I don't think about the rest of the world during those week and a half. It's Strongman only.
Absolutely.
So we will be doing some content about that, but it's not going to be the sole heart of it all. We want to be talking about all kinds of different aspects. So just let us know what you thought. Let us know what you like. And let me know where my strong girlies are at that are going to nerd out with me.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. So where can we find you there, Miss Megan?
Well, I was just going to mention that, Allie. You have an Instagram dedicated completely to your Strongman journey.
Yes, that is. So if you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Allie_strongwoman. So if you wanted to check out how I already did in my past competitions, I have the little tidbits and all the information that I did there.
We got videos.
We got some posts, and we'll be posting. Maybe I keep on forgetting to take them when I'm doing training. So
it's because you're in it.
I'm focused.
That's right. You gotta have me there as
a
woman, or your mom.
Your mom, yes.
But yeah, so if you want to go and see a little bit more about Allie's journey and a little bit about her experience with the competition before actually discussing the competition on the podcast, get a little bit insider's info, please follow her on her Instagram channel. And if you want to know a little bit more about me, or just follow me just because, you can follow me at Handora_readings on Instagram. And then if you want to look at the podcast,
SG Shuffle Podcast on YouTube and on Instagram.
That's right.
And so we'll be posting a lot of stuff there starting. We're going to be posting 2 to 3 times a week, depending how excited we get. If things are going well, we'll post more.
Absolutely.
We want to be talking all about the fun that's going on with us, as well as keeping you updated. We will be posting images of the card so that you can have those as well.
Yeah, just so you guys can get all the rounded information on us, what we're doing, and how the podcast is going.
Perfect. Oh, I'm excited. And we're not sure what we're going to be talking about next week, so you have to tune in to find out.
That's right. Surprise, surprise.
Exactly. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Everyone work on their goals. We'll be checking in with you next week to make sure you're fine. And I hope you find your inner strong girly this week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.
Two.